Cameras rolling. 3, 2, 1.
My name is Tatiana Mukanai. I've got a PhD in materials engineering with integrated studies. I don't think I chose the subject, I think the subject chose me. I say that because it was just a natural progression from my final research project in my undergrad to then go on to do materials engineering as a PhD. I wanted to be a spy, and then at one point I wanted to be a forensic toxicologist. I was born in Kinshasa in Congo, and I was there till about 7 years old. Then I came to the UK. I wasn't really allowed out, but I remember a few things, like I'd have a school bus, I'd go to school and they would drop me back home. I had friends, I'd go to parties. I remember bits and bobs, going to the fun fair, going to pool parties and being around my family, my cousins, but I was very much always in a controlled environment. My first feelings of going back for the first time in 10 years since leaving, it wasn't what I expected. I don't think I had expectations, but it wasn't what I had left in my childhood. Things had changed, people had grown up, cousins that you had left there, everyone's different and doing different things. So it was definitely different, but it was more just getting the feel of the place. I don't think I felt a change at that age. I think the change came when I went for the second time after 10 years, when I was then 26. Because at that point, I think I know myself a lot more. I know who I am, I know what I want to do, I know where I want to go. So now, being in certain environments, I know what I can, profit off, flourish from, and grow from. So I think that's where the change really occurred. The best part about being Congolese, I would say, it makes me feel unique. And especially in a surrounding here in the UK, where you have a lot more of like a Ghanaian and Nigerian presence. I have a lot more friends that are just Nigerians and Ghanaians in general. I tend to be the only one that is Congolese, so there's that uniqueness to it. But I wouldn't change where I'm from. Like, I think Congo is a very special place, like the center of Africa. Like, it's unique, it's special. I think the biggest misconception of Congo is, in terms of the media, is the poverty and the, oh, we constantly need help. That look is, I don't like that. And I think of Congolese people is that people tend to bracket us into being bataluyenge. So it's like, we only like parties, we're very flamboyant in the way we dress, but it's like, we're smart and we can, we can do business and we can match, like we can level up. You can't think that, oh, I haven't grown up there, so I don't know anything about back home, what use. I think that's the bit that I have an issue with. What use am I? You're very useful. I think everyone has potential, it's just tapping into that potential. So I would definitely say that it's about going there, even if you go on holiday to begin with, you can put yourself out there where you network, even in the UK to start with. You network with certain types of people, you meet certain type of people, you're bound to find someone that always goes back. We know our parents' generation, they always go back, I go back. So it's just about networking, meeting the right people when you're there, getting to know the right people, obviously proceed with caution, and bit by bit you figure out where your talent is and where your purpose lies in terms of serving back and in terms of doing something on the ground. I don't believe in boxing yourself. I genuinely think that you can come out and do medicine, and you've wanted to do medicine, you get that medical degree and you come out and you think, do you know what, I'm gonna go into banking. And that actually happens. People come out with degrees and then, it's skills that you've now acquired that you can convert and apply them onto something else. I believe the whole arts versus academia and that mentality is a slave mentality, in my opinion. I think it's a slave mentality. When you look at King Leopold II and some of the letters that he had written back to his missionaries to send back to Congo, telling them divide them, make sure that they only feel like they're good for dancing and music and arty stuff, because when they get educated in sense of law or economy and finance, then they can start piecing things together and then they can start a revolution, right? I think everything plays its role. However, growing up as well, having a parent, for example, my dad, when he found out I picked GCSE I picked PE for GCSE, it was a whole problem. He was like, my daughter she's not with it. My mum had to explain to him that there's There's more to it than that over here. It's not that just because she's doing sports does not mean that, you know, she's thick, like she can't put things together. But it's just warming up to the idea that with art, there's other things you can tap into. And I think that's something that is celebrated now more so than before. That me coming from an engineering background, yeah, I still get it. I see it in people's eyes sometimes, and especially families and Congolese people, it's like, oh, she did engineering, she's a doctor, she's so smart. But it's like, no, when it comes to like artsy stuff, when it comes to, I don't know, like production and stuff, I don't know anything about that, you know, and that takes skill and that still takes work. And either way, I really believe that even if you are going to be a painter, you're going to be a hairdresser, you're going to be someone that picks up the bins outside, not only is every job valuable, but to become the best person at what you want to do, it's always going to take work. So I think our generation is going about it the right way and it's being accepted more. It's just about now grinding to become the best person at doing what you're trying to do. The one thing I would say brings us in terms of like different Africans from, you know, different countries, it's not positive, but it's the fact that to the white man, you're black. I don't care if you're South African, I don't care if, you know, you're from Ethiopia, Mozambique, whatever, you're black, black is black. That's how they see it. And I think that mentality that some people have sometimes of division, where it's like, oh no, but we're Nigerian, or we're from the East, or we're from this place and that place, we need to let go of that. Because at the same, you know, there's always going to be tribalism and all these things. These things were there even before colonialism, before slavery. So these things, we're going to cause divide within ourselves, whether it's colorism, dark skin, light skin, you know. But I believe that the fact is we're all black, we're all African, and that's just period. And that should be something that brings us together. I shouldn't have to look at where you're from. You're my black brother, my black sister. It should just end there. I feel a major difference as a diaspora and as a black woman here in the UK in the sense of there are systems in place that I can fall back on that will defend me. You know, there's laws in place and rules and regulations that says, okay, we want equality, you know, and on top of that, we want diversity. But in terms of if those things weren't in place, it's still the same in Africa, you know? Like I've sat on tables, I've had people come to my house here in the UK and they've made outlandish comments about women, and I look at them and they'll be like, oh no, sorry, but this is just what I believe. And it's just like, this is mad. But also just when I go to Congo and I'm, you know, chilling with my dad and his mates, they have their opinions and I listen. But if I say something, or you just know in certain places your voice isn't necessarily heard or respected. One thing that infuriated me last time that I was in Congo, I'm staying at this hotel and I decided to go downstairs with my cousin to go get food. They put it on the tab, put it on the, you know, hotel room. We get there, we sit down. These waiters and waitresses are standing there just staring at us. Since they started staring at us, they were just staring at us. Cool. I'm sat there with my cousin thinking, are they thinking that we're waiting for someone or what's going on? Just wait. Cool. So these uncles that were sat by the pool then come in and sit down, and instantly those waitresses went, like they all went to them, like started laying things down, like what would you like to eat, this and that. And I was like, hold on. Have we not been sat here waiting to be served? And then she explained to me, she was like, it's because we're women. To them, they're expecting a man to come and to, you know, that's the man that's going to pay for our food. I was so angry. I was like, I'm never staying here again. I'm not giving them my money. I left. But at the end of the day, I can't keep reacting like that and be like, I'm never doing this, I'm never going, because that is just a mentality everywhere you go. And you're not going to fight the system by saying that, hey, do you know what? I'm just going to step out of this. So that's just really how I feel about it. When you move back home and you're trying to, you know, do something back home and knowing that you're a woman and you're, you know, you have that disadvantage, I think it's just about strategizing and understanding your strengths and weaknesses. So I understand that some people are going to come with a certain mentality and it's a pill that I'm just going to have to swallow, that some people are going to say ignorant stuff and some people are going to think a certain type of way. That is always going to be a thing of like, oh, you can be ambitious, but don't be too ambitious because you've got your husband at home, you want to have kids, you have to go and cook. These times, if he's working till 10 p.m., it's not an issue. But if I'm doing it, it's like, relax, you know? So there's always going to be people that are going to have that sort of mentality. But I've already decided within myself that the people that I surround myself with are people that feed into me, are people that understand what I'm trying to do. And if you don't, you can stay right over there. I'm still going to try and do what I want to do, but in terms of allowing your opinion to hold me back or to filter through into my mind isn't something that I'm going to be mixing with a lot. So to describe a Congolese teenager in the diaspora and just encompassing their lifestyle, I would want them to feel like they can be whatever they want to be. I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues like years ago, and recently I had a chat actually beforehand with a friend of mine, and she had told me, hey, I had a bet with my dad that who's going to drive home first from my cousin's house. So we had a race. Cool, so that's the mindset, right? So then I'm not talking to my colleague who's white, lives up north, and he's like, oh yeah, like we're just talking about certain things, and he was making certain comments, and he was like, yeah, I had a bet with my dad. So I'm thinking, oh, racing or something along like who can get to somewhere first. And he was just like, yeah, we just had a bet of who's gonna get to $1 million first, like who's gonna make £1 million before the other. And he's done it before, but I think this time I can beat him. It threw me off, because that's that mindset. That's what you're thinking. That's the bet, that's the conversation. But I don't think that's a normal conversation for a black person or a teenager within the diaspora, in terms of just work experience, in terms of seeing people in certain roles that you can aspire to and be like, this person's doing it, so I can do that. Or hard work. I've had conversations with people when I started the PhD. A lot of people were like, whoa, you're gonna go back and do another 5 years? You're gonna go back and do another X amount of years? But whether or not I do those years or not, if I'm 20 and at 25 I become a doctor and people are telling you it's going to take you 5 years to get there, at 25 I'd rather be a doctor than be at 25 and I've just been working or doing something else. It's not for everybody, I get that, but I want people to be able to understand that the option is there and the world is literally an oasis of choices. Breaking down the experience of my PhD as a black person and what advice I would give to other people in terms of if they want to do it, I would say it's up to you. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And I know my mum would be like, why are you saying that? You should encourage everybody. Listen, a PhD will mentally test you to the brink. Like, it will take you to the brink. You have to have some mental resilience for certain things. Like, no one's there to tell you to wake up every day and go do the work. You can take 2 weeks off, up to you, but you need to make sure the work is done. And expectations, manage your expectations. I went into it thinking that I can go to this person and get the training, get this person and get the help that I need. I get there and then it's like, it's for me to go find the person who's supposed to train me. And then it's for me to persuade that person to actually train me. They don't owe me anything. So it's about now managing relationships, because I'm literally by myself trying to put this thing together, ordering things. I had to wait for how many months because my material was stuck in customs. It held me back for a very long time. And that pressure, because when it comes to the exam, they don't care that you've been waiting for how many months. They don't care that this person didn't want to train you, or this person didn't want to collaborate, or this person went on leave, or that person got pregnant, or whatever. Where's the work? What have you done? So it's just about managing your expectations with that. But I would encourage people to do it, but do it once you've actually done your research and looked into what exactly you want to do. Because a PhD is not, oh, I'm doing GCSE geography because I have to. No, you have to like the project, you have to want to give yourself to it, and you have to understand this is going to mold you mentally as a person. 3 words that describe Congo. I would say resilient. I would say beautiful, and I would say underestimated.
Cut.